Welcome everybody, Tying Tuesdays. Brady with you back once more. Gonna tie the UV Sally. Cool summertime bug. This is a great little nymph to have if you got UV Sallies in your waterway, those small little yellow stoneflies, or small golden stones as well. This can kind of be adapted to that. You can change up the colors, up the size, tie it for really a world of nymphs, but this is designed around the Yellow Sally nymph. So a cool little pattern that we're gonna whip up. And to start out, we're gonna put our hook in the device. This is the Hanak series. So a new addition to AvidMax, if you didn't know, is the Hanak hooks. Definitely a really high quality hook, a wide variety of options. We have quite an offering now at AvidMax, definitely worth checking out. Today we're tying on the H290 BL, so this is a nymph wet hook. It's a pretty standard wire bronze hook. It's a barbless, which is nice. It's got that extra long shank, extra long needle point. It's a long shank nymph style hook. So you could substitute any extra long shank nymph hook for this pattern. But this Hanak one is a really, really nice offering. So we're going to start the thread. I do have my bead on that hook as well. This is the Autumn Matte from Firehole. It's a 1/8 size, so very true to size for the size 12 nymph that we're tying today. Got our hook dress there with the UTC 70 in yellow, and then we're going to start with our tail, and this is a little bit of Lifeflex, the ginger color Lifeflex. So definitely, I played around with some different nymph legs on this, and I really feel that the original with this nymph is the best. The ginger Lifeflex is the best option that I've run into anyways. But feel free to experiment. That's kind of the fun part about fly tying, is just experimenting with stuff that's out there or materials that you might come across and kind of see what you can come up with. So I like to start it on one side, sort of work up the shank just a little bit, and then I'm going to pull that material up and over, sort of stretch it to minimize the bump, and then we'll walk it back down the other side. And that helps just fix that tail on either side of the hook shank. And then we can trim it out. We'll leave it a little long for now. Always give ourselves more room to work with. Or room for error, rather, when we got to trim that later on. And then I'll even it out just slightly here, real quick, at least what the abdomen is going to be, before adding our next material, which is some wire. This is a great Semperfli matched color to this bug. It's the 0.3 millimeter in light gold, which tends to come out very amber. It matches that bead really nicely. And then we can add that in. I like to start in the front and run it the entire length. Tuck it up in that bead a little bit and then wrap back, securing it. Throw it in the material holder so we can dub our body. On the back end, I'm going to use, actually I got one more material before I forget, very important material for this fly, is the turkey biot. And this is going to be used in a couple of different fashions. It's going to be the backing of the nymph, kind of adds a layer to this pattern. And then we'll tie it in up front as well. So start by clipping it just a little bit short there. And we're going to lay it so that it's tied in right on top. And all the way back to the tail. Just like so. And now we can start dubbing the fly. Just getting a little ahead of myself there. So it's a light Cahill color dubbing. You can mix this up a little bit as well. Like I said, if you're going to do some darker versions of this, definitely a world of options out there. Nice tight dubbing noodle for the abdomen. And we'll just taper it slightly as we work on forward here, building that up. Starting small, developing it out. And then leaving ourselves plenty of room on the front end to build up the stonefly thorax. Just a little bit more to taper it, like so. So plenty of room, at least a couple of a bead or two in length up front. We'll pull that buyout right over the top and secure it where that dubbing body ends. Just like so, pulling it nice and tight. And then we can trim out the extra here. But we're going to save this material for later on. So don't lose that. Then we can wrap our wire forward. And I really crank down on this. I like it to sort of bite into that body and biot as I go forward. Nice, tough segmentation. So as you can tell, I'm sort of holding that hook, so I'm not going to bend the hook. I just want to bite into that material there. And again, right where that abdomen ends, capture it in place. And then we'll go ahead and spin that off. This is close to like a medium gauged wire, so it's a fairly thick wire, the 3.3 millimeter. If you're looking at different options from other companies, it's about a medium size. And then we're going to tie in our next material, which is the UV component on this. And I'm using some Spectra, some Hends Spectra dubbing. Their number 13 color, which is sort of like a scud orange option. I'm not sure what it's actually called. We'll have to reference that for you. But I got carried away here. I need just a little tiny dubbing needle. I'm just building a prop here. So let me back some of this off. There we go. So again, I'm going to use a little bit of wax. We're using like an ice dub, a UV dub. Wax is definitely your friend. Helps keep it tight. I'm going to build just a bump right where we ended things for some more backing with that turkey. And we're going to take this and tie it in right on top, sort of just protruding out rearward. As kind of a wing casing for this little stonefly. There you go, secure that in, and then clip out our excess. And then we're going to repeat that process, just a little more dubbing, covering it up. And we'll do the backing 2 more times. And we're going to sneak some legs in there as we go also. So a little bit of dubbing, and now the legs, which is the same as the tail, this Lifeflex material. And again, right on the side, just a little bit longer than what I really need. But we're going to trim them thereafter. And we'll get them secured on either side. And then continue our process of the thorax. Get them where I want them there. There we go. And we are going to maneuver these a little bit as we work forward. So I just want them nice and secure there. And then I can add a tiny bit more dubbing. Again, just as another prop. And it'll help us get those legs laying how we want them to. And then some more biot. And we're going to do that one more time after this. Great little nymph pattern, definitely one to fish nice and deep. A little closer down to the bottom. Find some fish that are looking for anything that might have broken free. Works well in a multi-nymph rig. You could fish it under an indicator. You could fish it Euro style as well. You could always add a little bit more weight to this if you wanted it to be a heavier option for you. Definitely a versatile little nymph. And we'll do that final goose or turkey biot here. When you're doing this, I like to work smallest to largest. So I have the biggest piece to put in here last. And sort of helps with that overall nymph taper. Clip out the front end, and then I'm going to use a little bit of dubbing to build a collar and to kind of maneuver those legs a little bit more. But it gives a nice mottled back cased area to that bug, to this bug. A little bit more of the UV dubbing right behind that bead. Get those legs to kind of go forward just a little bit. It was nice and long. And then we can sneak in front of them and finish this fly with the good old whip finish. Always look forward to summertime and the rise of the UV Sallies, warm weather and stoneflies. Always make for a good day on the river. And this fly is definitely a good option to have in your box. Year round, you can fish it year round, but definitely in the summertime going to be the most relevant. Last thing I like to do is just trim it all up. So I'm going to take the legs, fold them all straight up and clip them. Make sure they're all pretty much the same length. And then we can trim that tail down a little bit as well. And again, just make sure it's the same length. There's a nice little UV Sally. Definitely a fly that'll capture a lot of attention. It's got great color to it. Good movement with that Lifeflex. Turn some fish and put them in the net for you. Really effective little stonefly nymph. The UV Sally.